everyone, I'm Lee Hogan and welcome to MXTV. Now, Belly's away for the next couple of weeks, so let's just get straight into it with the first segment. Now, when we were in America filming, we got to catch up with Team Honda legend of the sport, Ken Roczen, and let's hear what advice he's got for those young up-and-coming athletes.
Alrighty, we are with the coolest guy in the paddock. Everybody knows who this guy is. He's on Instagram, he's everywhere on social media, and one of the fastest guys in the world, Ken Roczen. Ken, welcome to MXTV.
Thank you, yeah, appreciate it.
Ken, first up, mate, what advice would you give some kids out there, or even adults that are going through maybe some injuries, and we know you've had yours and we know all about it.
Yeah.
What advice do you give them to come back riding? Because you've come back strong, mate.
Yeah, I've had a fair share of injuries, and I also went through, you know, for especially these big injuries, because I was so far out, like not even knowing if I'm ever going to be able to like do normal things with it again. So I was actually in Florida and I was laying in the grass after being 4 weeks in the hospital and I don't know, 8 surgeries later, and I decided right there and then that I'm not just gonna sit here and wait that if this arm heals again. So what actually helped me out big time is working out. You know, the hormones that you release when you work out a lot. So activity is great. Like that's the biggest thing. And I worked out a lot at one point, but one thing is for sure that I never did, I never gave up. I had that ambition in me to just, you know, get back to it.
And that's the biggest piece of advice, is keep positive.
It's tough at first, trust me. I've gone through depression too, because, you know, you go from winning everything to this, and it's okay to take your mind off of the sport when you need it, like this with these injuries and stuff. It's not about 24/7. You know, I always like to have a good balance with having family fun and having a good time besides racing dirt bikes. But me being off for so long, every time I hop on the bike, it's one of the greatest things that I ever decided to do.
When you were a kid in the mini ranks, what rider did you look up to? Who was a rider that you admired most?
I think that would probably be Ricky Carmichael.
Really?
When I came over for the first time to the U.S. to race Minios, it was with the support of Suzuki and my parents, and they surprised me. We were going to this farm in Florida, and I didn't know whose farm it was, you know what I mean? And then eventually Ricky just came riding out, and he was riding, and I'm like, is that like, you know, there was a total surprise. So, but even growing up, I think it was definitely Ricky that most of the people look up to. So Ricky would be the guy.
And with that too, what sort of advice would you give a youngster these days that wants to be in a position that you are today? What's the best piece of advice you could give them?
Obviously, I've done it for quite a while now, and I turned pro really early. But the biggest thing, like when I turned pro when I was 15, the year before that, so basically through the winter time, that is actually probably the first time that I put in an effort into training. Before, I was a kid, you know, and my dad, my parents, they were like, dude, you gotta do kid things. So I was riding and stuff, but I was doing a lot. I was riding my bicycle, I was riding pit bike, I was having fun, and I would show up on the weekend and just race, and I was already pretty good. But then people were freaked out that the reason I made such a big step from being an amateur to being pro and then racing GPs, because that was the first time I actually gave it an effort to train and like prepare myself and just full on get out there, you know what I mean? So that's when I made the biggest step. So, you know, to anybody that is not pro yet, I can tell you to have a good balance. I value family a lot, and just I try to have a lot of fun and outside of the sport. That makes me so much happier on the dirt bike too, because then when I go riding, I'm all about it, you know.
So Ken, fantastic to chat with you today. It's been amazing. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely.
One last one for the kids out there.
Have fun, kids, and don't ever have anybody tell you that you can't do it, because it really only matters what your mentality is. And I think there's always a lot of people that are going to doubt a person, but I like to be my own. I like to be the person that makes my own, that makes things happen, you know?
Yeah.
And afterwards, after trying, and failure is okay. I think that's the biggest thing. If you don't do anything, you can't do anything wrong. So the trying is the biggest part. And if it doesn't work out, the world is not ending. I can tell you that much. So hope you guys enjoy out there, and I hope I can be out in Australia someday. I haven't been there yet, so that's on my bucket list.
Now let's take a look at the 2019 Thor Pulse gear. Now this really is a staple in their range. This is built for the motocross rider, the enduro rider, or the guy that just comes out to ride park out here and rides on a weekend. It's form-fitting so that it's in the attack position. You're quite comfortable in the attack position. It's It's got some venting through the arms up here. It's also got a lot of stretch panels and it's got a lot of room to fit knee braces too. It's also got great leather pads on the inside of the knee, so you've got a lot more durability there. The Pulse pants have a Velcro tab and a buckle to stay secure. The other really good thing about these pants is they've got adjustable straps at the side, so on your fat days, let them off, and on your good days, you can tighten them up. I like that idea. So my thoughts are, it's a very comfortable set of gear to wear all day long. I've been wearing it for a couple of seasons now, and I enjoy wearing it with the bit of room in the legs, a bit of room in the belly, and also the top fit's quite comfortable when you're riding it. So it's a great, reliable piece of kit. Go and check it out at your dealership. Now let's take a closer look at Kawasaki's all-new KX450 with Jeremy McGrath.
In racing, you guys know passing is key. The all-new 2019 Kawasaki KX450 motorcycle has a new 449cc engine that delivers quicker acceleration and improved power for passing the competition. This engine features increased peak power and improved overall power across the RPM range compared to previous models. That extra acceleration comes thanks to a new camshaft, new valve train, improved fuel and airflow, and of course, a new exhaust.
In today's MXTV quick tip, we're going to have a look at the KTI PLB, or Personal Locating Beacon. Now this is something that is a must-have if you're a trail bike rider, adventure rider, even a motocross rider out with the family riding somewhere that might be at a private property or even at a motocross track and something bad may happen. Let's hope it doesn't. But if something does happen, this is a thing that you want to have beside you, because once you push the button on this, it activates a GPS signal, and then the Australian Emergency Services will know exactly where you are and be able to come and pick you up, hopefully get you all repaired and back on your bike in no time. Now the beauty about this thing is it's very tiny. It's about the size of a cigarette packet, if that. It's very light to carry. All you got to do is chuck it in your backpack, put it in your car, or just have it on you when you're out riding. This is a very, very important piece of kit that you should be taking all the time. Unfortunately, accidents do happen, and if we do need an emergency, this will get us out of trouble straight away. The KTI's battery has a 10-year lifespan. Now after that, you can get it replaced. It's not a very expensive unit, and for the small price you pay, it's one of the best investments you'll ever make.
Hey guys, today's technical tip brought to you by Suzuki is we're going to run through a few nuts and bolts on the bike, especially your new bike, that you need to keep Loctited. The reason we need to go through and Loctite the bolts on a new bike is simply because the factories are mass producing the bikes. They basically want to get the bikes off the production line as quickly as possible. The ones that we particularly concentrate around are the bolts that are out of sight. Vibration will usually loosen most of the bolts on the bike. So basically, you've got your mud guards that are obviously when they're flexing with the engine vibration and stuff like that. Chain guide bolts, when the chain is running through, it's causing harmonics within the parts of the bike, and they can loosen the bolts as well. It's always a great idea if you're changing your chain and sprockets to make sure that you Loctite the rear sprocket bolts, as well as a little bit of Loctite on the front sprocket bolt. Certainly the other big ones we also highly recommend is tightening the muffler bolts. Mufflers on 4 strokes and on 2 strokes, both over time, can come loose. We don't need a lot of Loctite, we just need enough just to stop the bolt from, vibrating its way out. The Loctite that we use most of the time is Loctite 243. It's a medium strength Loctite. It's great as an all-round Loctite. It's not overbearing, and you can generally get it undone when you actually need to take the bolt out. You don't need a lot on it, you just need the smallest dob, and that will usually do most of your 6mm bolts. For any of your larger bolts, your engine mount bolts and everything like that, you can use a little bit more Loctite. So that's basically a quick rundown of what we believe needs to be Loctited, especially like on a new RMZ 450 like this. Look, awesome bike. The last thing you want is it falling apart under you, so keep those Loctite on those bolts, and just keeping a good idea, when you're washing the bike, check what's happening with your nut and bolt situation. If something's coming loose, fix it before it becomes a problem. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Is your family like my family? Upset, sad, disappointed? We can fix that, and just in time for Christmas too. Turn that frown upside down with some MXTV merchandise. Get Dad a stubby holder, and there's an MXTV shirt for all the family. And hold it on.
Welcome back to MXTV, thanks to Motul Oils. Now, earlier in the year, the Horsham Motorcycle Club and of course Australia played host to the World Junior Motocross Championships. Now the USA and one of their young guns, Kawasaki rider Di Francesco, we got to sit down, have a little bit of a chat with him. Let's hear what he had to say.
I'm riding Di Francesco. I ride for Team Green Pro Circuit Monster Energy Kawasaki. I've won the Loretta Wins 6 times. This year's gone pretty good. I've won almost every national I've been to, and just try to keep the ball rolling. I ride a KX85. They ride big wheels here on their 85, so we ride small wheels. So it's a little different coming over here and riding a big wheel 85. I've never done that before. It's pretty easy to get used to, and that's a little change that they do from Australia to the US. Track looks good. It's a lot like the US. I walked it today. The dirt and the soil, it's a little different. We'll just have to get used to it and push through. Get through these motos good. We had a race like this about 2-3 months ago, so I kind of just shipped the bike from the US over here, a full complete bike, so it should be the same exact bike that I rode 2 months ago at a Nationals. I mean, racing, you can't, the adrenaline, I mean, you live for that every day, right? So, I mean, roller coasters are the same. I go to the roller coaster park just to get that adrenaline when I'm not racing. The adrenaline is the best part. It's been a blast ever since I've got picked and looking forward to it, and can't wait to ride this awesome track.
Now let's take a look at the brand new goggle out on the market by Spy. It's the Foundation goggle. Now this is the Foundation Plus. It comes with a spectral lens here, and it also comes with a bonus clear lens. Now every Foundation goggle comes with a bonus tear-off pack as well. And Spy say the Foundation goggle has the widest peripheral view on the market. Now the high definition Lexus lens provides sharper and more accurate vision in all lighting conditions. The ventilation system draws air through, creating a vacuum that pulls hot air from behind the lens, keeping you dry. They come with a 45mm roll-off system. The triple layer face foam has a moisture wicking fleece that provides a lot of comfort and keeps you dry long into the moto. And last of all, the Foundation goggle comes with a 45mm strap with a silicone rib on the inside to stop it from falling down. So there you go, a closer look at the Foundation goggle from Spy. Now let's take a closer look at Suzuki's RMZ 450. In today's product review, we're going to have a look at the Motul Slacker. Now this is version 2. I've used version 1 and it was absolutely fantastic. It's something that you must have if you're a motocross or enduro rider setting your sag. It's one of the most crucial things that you can do to set your bike up. So the things that have changed on version 2, there's not a lot, but one is auto zero function, which allows Slacker to automatically zero out when the bike is lifted. The cable has new rollers in it, so it moves with a lot more ease now. And of course, version 2 still has the great features the original Slacker came with. like the digital sag scale that reads race sag in real time using a retractable slacker cable. And don't forget the remote display allows a single person to easily take precise measurements. Now it also has a backlit display which can be turned on in poor lighting conditions. And of course the biggest benefit for the slacker is it really means you can set your sag by yourself, but if you do have a helper or a mechanic nearby, it's very easy to read the measurements in real time. So using the slacker really does make setting your sag a no-brainer. So there you go, the slacker version 2. I tell you what, if you're a serious rider, you really need one of these. I know that you can do it with a tape measure, but this just makes the job that much easier. And also, like I said before, you can do it with one person. Go out, check it out at your local dealership. You will not be disappointed. Well, here we are with my pet project. It's a 1996 CR125. Now I've built this specifically for the Viper VMX round here in Victoria. The reason being, it's a great atmosphere out here. You can build up an old bike, go out and do a little bit of riding around or racing if you want to. It's only 3 laps each time and the guys out here are fantastic. They're a great bunch of blokes. You can come and camp the night beforehand and then get out and have a ride on your bike. It's so much fun building a 2-stroke. Of course, we all ride 4-strokes these days, but most of us guys grew up on 2-strokes like these ones in front of me. So how did this build come about? First of all, I bought a 1996 CR125, of course. Now, as you know, I'm a very busy man, so I didn't have time to pull a bike down and put it all together. Of course I didn't, I got someone to help me. We had Aaron Meyer, of course you'll remember from last year, build our nice KX80. He put the bike together for me.
You know, the bike was pretty tired. We decided to rebuild the whole bike. We had to put a whole new clutch in it, got a whole genuine complete crankshaft from Honda. We put a new Vortex piston and rings in there. I went down at Chad's off-road, got a suspension re-valve and it re-sprung.
G'day Aaron, I got some parts for the CR. Bolt have sent us a Pro Pack with some pretty cool works washers. So they're really cool. That just
They are cool.
makes it look really cool, mate. I'm stoked with that. Got Polysports Plastics kit.
Yep.
Got Window Racers sent us the gasket kit for all the internals. Arcade Chains have supplied a chain and a sprocket, and Pirelli have supplied the MX32 mid-soft tyres, which I love front and rear. Get some great traction from those tyres. States MX have supplied us with the rims. Pro Taper have supplied handlebars and levers and also grips. The spokes are from Ash's spoked wheels. And our good friend Steve from Cisco's has supplied a HGS pipe and muffler. All our bearings in the engines have come from All Bearings. And Wiseco have helped us out tremendously, along with Vertex. And of course, we always use motor oils in the engines and the fluids, and Power Plus have supplied our fuels. Okay, so here we are for the last round of the year for the Viper VMX at the Tullaine Motocross Club. Now this bike's brand new, hasn't been run in yet, so I'm gonna go out, have a practice, run it in, and then do a few rounds and see how we go. I'm excited to get on this thing. It should be so much fun. I'll give you a report when I get back. It was a dry and dusty day, which made challenging conditions out on the track, that's for sure. But what wasn't challenging was this. Aaron's done an amazing job putting the engine together. This thing is an absolute rocket ship. Compared to what it was to what it is now, is amazing. It's night and day. The bottom end on this bike is still a little bit low, and I've heard that they don't have a big bottom end, but boy, when you get to that mid-range and high end of this bike, this thing just takes off like a rocket ship. You really do have to keep it revving in the corners to keep it going. Once you drop off a little bit, yeah, you need a bit of clutch to get it going, but this engine is super strong up top. It's amazing. The suspension, Chad's done a great job with the suspension. It certainly sits a lot better than what it did before. Overall, the bike is an amazing package. I'm loving this. I can't wait till next year's Viper rounds. I'm going to be out there playing around on this a lot more.
Well, it's almost time to go, but just remember, if you want to watch this episode again, head on over and check out the 7 Plus app and you can see it all over again, all the good stuff. Well, that's all we've got time for. Thanks so much for joining us. Even though Belly, my teammate's not here, I'm still going to do it for him, okay? So make sure that you hold it on.